I'm often asked about, what about those "it's my money and I want it now" people? How does that work? Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible. I wrote a newsletter about it recently. It's on my website if anybody wants to go in there and pull it out. But basically, I tell everybody just to kind of stop. Just stop for a second and think about things here. The "it's my money and I want it now" people, granted, that's not the best thing. Ideally, you want to set it up properly from the get-go. I spend a ton of time working with the families that I work with, building this thing with as many bells and whistles or as few bells and whistles as they want or need. The idea is a structure is locked in, but it doesn't need to feel locked in. So I should make lots of different benefit streams coming out so that we never need to invade our structure and call one of those people. But here's what I tell attorneys. I say, okay, we've got the Structured Settlement Protection Act in place that's going to require the person to go in front of a judge in their jurisdiction to make sure it's in their best interest. That's the wording, in their best interest. It doesn't mean they're dying. It doesn't mean lots of things. It just means, is it in your best interest? Are you being coerced? Are you medicated, whether legally or illicit drugs? Just having a disinterested third party take a look at this. Now think about this. Structures came from a defense perspective. Years and years ago, they were set up as a defense tool to save the defense carrier money. So think about mom and dad who lost a baby through birth trauma or something, or it was a baby that wasn't projected to live a long time. And back in the day, they weren't allowed to have a plaintiff broker go and look out for their interests. So they basically built a structure for this baby, $5,000 a month for life, or 30 years or whatever they built in. Defense tend to build 20 years, which is silly. But so they have some guarantee period after the baby dies. Why is it not in that family's best interest after that baby dies to cash that money in? Who is it? Is it my place to say that that's not appropriate? The baby who needed that money is now passed away. Is it appropriate for you or me to say, no, you should never be able to cash that in? Here's a monthly reminder that we killed your baby. I mean, horrible. I think that that's very much in their interest to let them do that. Yes, they're charged a fee for that, but what's the price of closure? Let's let them get on with their lives. Basically, when I sit down and I teach families Structures 101, I tell them about it. I tell them how it works. If you ever need to get into your structure, here's how it works, and I explain it to them. And then I explain to attorneys who would sign on for any financial vehicle that you could never escape from. Who would do that? Would you do that? Nobody would do that. So again, my perspective on that is set it up properly to begin with. Don't overstructure. That was done quite frequently, and I think still probably is. Don't overstructure. Don't, I ran into an attorney a couple years ago who said, oh, I don't want too many, I just want a monthly payment coming in for my clients because I don't want a life company to screw something up, by having numerous payments coming out for different things. I don't know what he's basing that on, but I have worked in this business for quite a long time, and I have lots of benefit streams that come out for lots of families in lots of different flavors, so to speak. It makes them feel like the money's constantly flowing to them. They don't feel locked into something that doesn't fit. The factoring companies have a place. Sometimes people do run into things and they have an emergency and they need it. The thing I say is try to refer them to somebody I know one person I work with who I trust completely, who basically has talked almost everybody out of it. And basically it's somebody who is only going to get them what they need versus trying to get them to sell the whole thing so that they can get rich. Okay, so there's more to it than the instant cringe that you see when an attorney brings it up. It's a very complicated topic, but I think it's one that deserves discussion, and I think it's one that needs to be handled responsibly. And again, I mean, what investment would anybody get into where they couldn't get out? I mean, without a gun to your head, who would do an investment that you can't get out of? Nobody.